for 4 years. From 1966 onwards, 1986, the country degenerated into chaos, which claims many lives of people. And as a result, there was economic stagnation. So the new government under Museveni Yoweri instituted reforms. These were economic and political. Among the economic reforms, there was liberalization of the economy. So one of the sectors was telecommunication sector, which was liberalized, and the government monopoly over the sector was broken down through restructuring. So restructuring had to bring about new players in the sector. So our problem statement is about, like many other researches, there has been fewer researches conducted on internet development in the developing world. Most of the researchers have overemphasized internet in a global tech context, ignoring the prospects of user satisfaction in the internet cafes. The liberalization of the economy in Uganda precipitated private sector-led growth for internet development. But liberalization has its vices. It's associated with market imperfections called market failures. So at times cannot bring about satisfaction to the users. So our concern is to investigate user satisfaction in internet cafes. But this problem would require collection of suitable data so that we can address this problem of satisfaction in the internet cafes. The research purpose and questions are stated as below. Research purpose 1 is to investigate the level of user satisfaction associated with internet cafe services. The respective research question is that, to what extent are customers satisfied with internet cafe services in Uganda? The second research purpose is to identify the deficiencies that curtail effective use of internet services in Uganda. Identify the recommendations that would lead to service improvement. So the consequent research question is, what are the deficiencies to effective use of internet cafe services amongst the users, and the policy recommendations to improve the service quality? The scope of the study, it's like Uganda has a population of about 33.6 million people. Of these, 4.3 million people are internet users registered by the Uganda Communication Commission. But because of the limited resources, we cannot conduct a thorough research of all these internet users in Uganda. So our study was limited to users within the Kampala city environment and the surroundings. So this is because most of the internet establishments are located in urban centers. Very few internet activities are rolled out to the rural areas because of the limited infrastructure that could not facilitate spread out or roll out of these businesses to the countryside. The hypothesis to be tested are as follows. That hypothesis number 1 is that there is no association between professionalism and user satisfaction in the internet cafes. The alternative hypothesis is that there is association between professionalism and user satisfaction in the internet cafes. The second hypothesis states that there is no association between technical competence, system support, and user satisfaction in the internet cafes. The alternative is that there is association between technical competence, system support, and user satisfaction. The third hypothesis is that there is association between responsiveness and user satisfaction in the internet cafes. There is no association between responsiveness and user satisfaction in the cafes as our alternative hypothesis. Last but not least is that there is no association between perceived price and user satisfaction, with the respective alternative hypothesis being there is association between perceived price and user satisfaction. So in the interest of time, I have to skip the literature review as you suggested. For the methodology, this is our topography. The research design took 2 dimensions. It took the quantitative approach and the qualitative one. But to a large extent, our survey was quantitative because it was kind of inductive research. We cannot handle research covering the whole country because of the limited resources. The quantitative approach took the survey method for collection of the primary data, whereas the qualitative one involved interviewing the respondents. The method of analysis actually considered the demographics of users such as age, gender, occupation, and employment status. The sampling technique used was multi-stage random sampling. That is, from the 4.7 million users, we had to break down our sample, population sample, to the internet cafe users within the Kampala city environment. The third stage was to identify about 6 internet cafes within the city environment as our area of investigation. Then, the instrumentation was the questionnaire method used to collect the data. This had structured, open-ended questions and closed ones. Data collection, for data collection, we had 2 approaches. Primary data, we used questionnaires and interview. What is the secondary data? We use literature review, literature review consisted of books, journals, articles, newspapers, and internet resources. Why? Because I'm addicted to the internet. So being an addict to the internet helped me in some way or the other to collect some of the data. Now, go to data analysis. The first table shows the gender of respondents, whereby the males dominated the investigation, comprising of 63.8% relative to their female counterparts, who were comprised of 36.3%, which means that the males dominate internet usage in those cafes relative to females. When it comes to age of the respondents, generally the under 25 dominated the research with 51.9% of the respondents, whereas those above 25 to 35 years were 36.9, 36 to 45 years were 7.5%, over 55, 46 to 55 were 1.9%, as well as those over 55 were 1.9% of the respondents surveyed. In terms of occupational respondents, the student population was the highest at 74%, seconded by the teacher, and thirdly was the business class, as follows. When asked the respondents the meaning of user satisfaction, these were the results that were rallied by the users. 67.5% of the respondents say that satisfaction to them means a good and friendly environment. 35.5% says that the low internet fees were their main factor. Well, this 19.4% suggested that enough computers mattered to them most. The users don't consider so much the technical aspects of the internet, such as good computer, surfing environment, and good computer specifications, because they scored lists. This column shows the respondents who did not participate in this kind of question. The missing respondents in that regard. So when we did cross-tabulation for sex and age, as in ranking the service, from the figures in the table, it can be observed